There he is, Rick Little. How you doing today, man?
Great, great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just starting up here, the Fight Gods podcast. I see you're in the airport. I appreciate you joining us today. Where are you heading back from? Are you heading back from the fights last night?
No, I've been here in Chicago. I'm leaving Chicago. I just did some training with Julianna.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. Did you
Yeah.
catch the fights last night?
Oh, I caught them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They were amazing.
That was a epic UFC event, definitely, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely one of the best ever. I'd say for
Yeah.
sure.
What made it even better was the fuck Jake Paul, huh?
Oh, I loved it. I wish the introductions didn't start. The music, or that chant
Yeah.
would have went on longer.
I think you're right about that. Hey, before we go on, I just wanted to thank you and remind you. I don't even know if you remember, but when I first started reporting, I used to write you messages and you used to answer them all the time for my articles. It was back around the time that Mike got screwed in that Kevin Lee fight, and
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
wanted to thank you for that, man, because you're the first high profile coach that would answer my messages and stuff. So I just wanted to tell you thank you for doing that for me back in the day.
Of course, man. Hey, I know a grinder when I see one. You know what I
I
mean? Anybody in this sport grinding, I notice. So you left messages and I could tell you knew what you were talking about. So I knew I wanted to talk to you.
Well, I appreciate that, man. So, speaking of which, Juliana has fight coming up with Amanda Nunes. How's training going for that?
Had a schedule, which I like. We're ready to go. We could fight her in a week if we had to.
Definitely. That sounds good. That sounds real good. I know that
Yeah.
I know that Misha Tate's back, and I know you have some stuff to do with her. Is she training with you guys also right now?
Yes, she is.
Awesome.
So, yep, we got it. We got the two power girls coming. And
Yeah.
what's funny is I love being in this position, but everybody's sleeping on them too. So that's the
Right, right.
best part about it. Like, I don't know why, but no one's taking Misha that serious, and they don't give Juliana a chance, which is just almost funny to me.
Right, that's insane, especially with all the things that she's done, all the profile fights she's won. That's kind of crazy right there. And
Yeah,
you know, and Misha Tate, I've always said, man, I always felt like she is the Randy Couture of the women's division. She is in any
yeah,
fight that she's in, no matter what. And I mean,
yeah.
just to count either one of them out or not give them that good of a chance. I mean, that's kind of crazy to me. And what about Mike? Last night you guys had a lot on the line, in the main event with Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. Where does this leave Mike Chiesa right now?
Man, I hope it leaves him right there. Old Usman's went through the whole division. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
He's smoked the whole division, and he's never touched Mike or fought Mike.
right.
And Mike's won all his fights at 170 handily. To me, it's clear cut should be Mike the next guy. You know
Yeah,
what I
definitely.
mean? So all these rematches and stuff are ridiculous. Colby Covington, I don't know how in the world you have one win in 2 years against Tyron Woodley, and that gets you a title fight. All that should do is get you from not being cut.
Right,
Like
right.
that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. So, Mike's resume these past couple years and two or three last fights are better than Colby's or anyone's.
Definitely.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
he should be next. Let's just hope it falls that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The crazy thing too is that I mean Mike beat all kinds of people. He beat Rafael dos Anjos, and I think that Colby got a title shot after he beat Rafael dos Anjos, but Mike didn't. He ended up getting more contender fights. I know that in the past, you've had issues with Dana White kind of snubbing your camp, and I know that he's kind of come out publicly and said some stuff that he really it was in your movie, some stuff that wasn't true about the injury and all that stuff. Are you guys
Yeah,
on better terms now, you and Dana?
we've always been on good terms. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The Dana's one of the, in my opinion, best businessmen to ever grace this earth. You know what I mean? He makes
Right.
stuff happen. So, I know what they're doing. When they put fights together, it's just pure business sense. If I don't think Dana likes Colby Covington, and he's giving him fights, and I think there's guys he doesn't like, he's given fights to. So,
Right.
big fight. I don't think it's it. I just think it's timing and luck and a lot of it and draw. I know that Mike and Julie aren't the biggest draws. They're the
Hmm.
grinders we're talking about,
Right.
but
Right.
they're the kind of people, if you give them the right situation, like Nate Diaz, watch
Yeah.
out. Then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, then people are surprised. But
That's
like
true.
Nate Diaz said, we're not surprised, motherfucker. Like, we're not surprised.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
it's just a matter of opportunity. And, if you hang out long enough, I tell my fighters this, you hang out long enough and hover around and just stay in the mix, you'll get lucky. You'll get your name drawn. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And it's half luck. It's not all skill. So I'm not
Right.
I'm not
Right.
I'm not upset at anything that's happened in our camp. I was
Okay.
actually happy when he was mad about the Juliana thing because I didn't know he gave a shit that much about her.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
So I
Yeah.
was actually happy that he was as upset as I was.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense. And if he's talking about you, at least, you're on the radar. So that's always good. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Mike has 4 high-profile wins in a row over all names. So I don't see exactly what else he needs to do to get that title shot. And the other thing about him is that he is so unorthodox. There's no other Michael Chiesa in the entire UFC. There's a lot of guys that fight like Masvidal. There's a lot of guys that fight like Usman. When you see Mike fight, it's always something different out there. Like he just constantly surprises you. And I guess that's just evolution. What makes Mike and Juliana your two probably most successful fighters?
That's a great question on why they are. It's just this is the hardest thing to describe to people, but when you get in that cage, it's a very emotional thing to be in a fight, but it's not a fight for your life, but it kind of is. And everything's on the line, but it isn't, and you can't really predict who's going to make that 5 foot putt, for $1 million till they're in there.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean? It's like
Oh yeah,
you can't predict that, and there's just something about them that no matter what the stakes are on, they'll perform like they do in the gym. And
yeah,
that's the biggest compliment you can give a fighter because a lot of fighters are amazing in the gym.
right.
But the more lights that are on, the more pressure, the more difficulty, the more hardship that happens in a fight or whatever. Bad call by the ref. A lot of people crack from that stuff. You know what I mean? And it's just like they're able to keep their focus regardless of the situation.
Y-
Mike and Julie fight people like they would in the gym or in their backyard, and those are the toughest guys, right? That can bring it in that circumstance when you have to make the walkout and you have fight week and you have weight cuts. They can still perform.
Right, right. Definitely. And I mean, you've had some other really great fighters that just didn't, meet the exact success that those guys did. Um, but like Lyle was an awesome fighter. Sam, I mean, you've had
Yeah,
some really good fighters there, but it just seems like those guys really thrive on the limelight and when it's time to perform. So that's pretty awesome. Let me switch
exactly.
gears with you real quick. Um,
Yeah,
and one thing that I've always noticed is that you had one fight, right? You had one pro fight. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah.
And
But
you
I
won.
had like 4 amateurs.
Okay. And you won the first pro fight by submission. I think
Oh
I
yeah.
think maybe in the second round, and then you just decided you just wanted to coach.
Hell yes, I hated it. I
Really?
hated it. I hated it.
What'd you hate
Eh,
about it? Everything.
Everything. MMA back in the day was ridiculous, right? When toys came
Right.
out, everybody's throwing a show in a barn, in an
Right.
alley, it seemed like, in a bar. And all these people are trying to be promoters and they're all calling everybody. And I was a dumb kid that would just, some guy would call me and be like, I got a guy. And I'm like, no thanks. He'd be like, are you scared? And I'd be like,
Yeah.
nope, even though I was, even though I
Yeah.
was. And I'd show up and they would never be the weight they said they were. I'm like,
Right.
that guy's not 145. And they're like, yeah, he is. And I'm telling you, the guy'd be 185. And it was
Right.
just, there was no coaches and nobody setting your fights. And it's just a crapshoot. And it
Right.
was
Right.
nervous. I would drive to the venue nervous as hell. And who am I fighting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would say, why am I fighting? And what
Yeah.
exactly am I fighting for? I
Right.
didn't
Right.
know. I didn't think I would go to the UFC or nothing. I just wanted to try it out. And then once you try it out, your name comes out there, and they're like, "Hey, you want to fight? You want to fight? You want to fight?" You know what I mean? And then I end up fighting, and never did I like it. And it's like,
I understand.
But what I learned is if I had someone like myself policing the whole thing, I think I would have liked it. I think I would have liked it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So you got someone watching your back. That's what you're looking for.
Right. Oh, definitely. You know, it's funny that you said that because Shoney Carter was on here a while back, and he told me a similar story that basically he would show up and they would not be the weight they said they were going to be. He would be, and then the promoter would be like, "Well, do you want to fight or not?" And he's like, "So I had to fight to get paid." And so yeah, that was that's interesting.
And that's guys like Shoney had no choice. You know what I mean? I didn't have to fight to get paid. I had another job, and I didn't look at it as a career. I would just be like, I'm not doing that again, fighting some monster.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. I fought just enough to know what I needed to know about it.
Okay, all right. And then just decided you wanted to do the coaching and just make sure that you were like the concierge for the other fighters that you were taking care of, pretty much.
Exactly. I always knew, you know what I mean? I've always known I can cut through the bullshit and all that stuff if I became in that role.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I didn't even know I was going to be a coach. I just kind of figured I'd manage and figure out all the logistics of a competition. I didn't know it would end up to be a coach. I didn't know I could even coach.
Got you.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of coaching, the next crop of fighters that you have, who should we be on the lookout for?
A good.
Right now,
he's on the Ultimate Fighter this season.
Okay.
So
I missed you for a second. Can you repeat that? We lost you for a second.
Brady Heaston. He's on. Okay. He's on this year's Ultimate Fighter.
Okay.
And I think I fully expect him to win. I think we're gonna have our third winner. So, and he's 21 years old. 21 years old. Sky's the limit. Unbelievable talent. Unbelievable personality. As far as good all around kid. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have him babysit your kids, kind of guy. So,
all right,
just an unbelievable person.
Okay,
you know, and then number 2, Ashton Charlton. Okay. Unbelievable, dynamite in his hands. 21 years old. They're starting to freak me out at this age. I didn't ever at this age. Mike wasn't this good. Chiesa wasn't this good. You know what I mean? At this age, these guys are good, and they have what you can't teach, and that's dedication, and they're dedicated, and that's the only thing that stops these guys. They think they're dedicated, but they don't understand it's a 10-year dedication. Ashton has the 10-year dedication. Brady has the 10-year dedication, and the other third one is my son. If he can get that dedicated word down, he'll be a killer. My son's been steamrolling everybody. He's unbelievably talented, but that's not a compliment. Talent will only get you so far. The kid needs to put his hours in the gym, and he's not doing it. And his last fight, I warned him that he's going to lose if he didn't put his hours in, and he didn't put his hours in, and he won. So right now he's in a little rebellious stage, right? Because he's like, see, I can win either way. But you know what I mean? I like the confidence he has. I like the ability he has. We just got to get him more dedicated, and my son will be in the UFC if he wants to be.
Okay. All right. You might need to show him a Bronx Tale, that movie, because they talk about wasted talent and stuff like that a lot in that movie. So yeah, that sounds good. We'll definitely be on the lookout for those guys coming up. So let me ask you this: how many fighters have you had on the Ultimate Fighter? Would this be your third, or have you? Oh no, you had Sam, so that was 3. Have you had other fighters?
I had one that made it to the alternates. So no.
Okay.
Cody McKenzie.
Okay.
But that was that was a zoo back then. That guy was in the gym, and then right when he got big, he left, and he was a tough one to even claim. He was almost like one of those uncoachable guys. So
right.
It's just he's on his own path type of thing. So I don't know how to say that on if he represented what he represented, but So it's 50-50 on if it was with us.
All right. Well, we'll just say this is your 4th, and you've got 2 so far. So maybe you'll get number 3, and that'll be 750%. That's pretty good, man.
This is the most prepared person ever to go on the Ultimate Fighter.
Okay,
So
nice.
so I'll be surprised if it isn't.
Okay, I like to
You
hear
know,
that. And do you have any fighters in the PFL currently? They just started back up.
my
None in the
guys are
PFL.
UFC or bust.
Okay, all right,
So I
nice.
mean, that's their focus. I know
Yep.
that's sometimes not good because some of these organizations might pay more, but that's what our sights are set on. So we're waiting for that call. We've had calls for some guys for Bellator and PFL and stuff,
Okay,
but
all right,
UFC,
nice. Hey, if you're gonna go big, if you're gonna go big, man.
go
Absolutely.
big. Exactly.
I don't blame you for that one. So,
We're not
all
going
right,
for we're not going for the 30 and 30 payday. We're going for the $1 million paydays.
right.
So,
Just
yep.
for just for anybody that has any questions out there, man. Before you go, I'd like to hear from you. What would happen if DC and Jake Paul actually came to blows?
Well, you're gonna not like my answer, but Jake Paul can fight. The guy
He can
can the
box.
guy
Yeah,
the
yeah,
guy can box, and so
right,
he would lose to DC in boxing just because of size.
right.
But the guy can box. I don't.
He can.
Nobody wants to admit that. The
Right,
guy
right.
has power, and he has balls, and that's two things that are tough to deal with. When you got power and balls, like that's a tough thing to deal with, and work ethic. He works in the gym, so
Definitely.
obviously DC would kill him in a fight, and a lot of people would, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't be counting this guy out. He's going the right direction. He's
Yeah,
taking fights like Mike Tyson and all these other guys fought in their first 2, 3 fights, right? That
yeah,
nobody
yeah.
fights monsters in the beginning.
Right,
So
right.
I'm not off his band. I'm still wondering if he might pan out to be decent. I
Yeah.
think there's a chance.
Yeah, no, I don't hate that answer. I last week I was talking about it on the air and I was explaining why he did well against Ben. I actually think he would beat Tyron Woodley too. And I was
Well, he
explaining why.
I
Um
agree with that.
yeah, the reason why I said was basically if you take a triathlete who are some of the greatest athletes in the world and you take them from in there and you bring them into a swimming pool and you get a speed swimmer, the triathlete is not going to beat the speed swimmer because the speed swimmer is only focusing on that one thing. And that's why
Hmm.
Jake Paul could do what he does. And these other guys who are great fighters and all around, they've never really focused on just boxing. And then they think in 8 weeks they could do it. And it's not going to happen, man. Um,
Exactly.
but DC, I was saying DC's just too much man for him, I think.
Too much
He's not.
man, and DC
Yeah,
got some hands.
he
DC,
does.
if you watch him, has the best hand checking in the UFC. His
Yeah.
hand parrying,
Right.
hand checking is second to none. It's
Right.
unreal. It's unreal. It's as good
Yep.
as his wrestling. So, and you have to be
Amazing
when you're that
athlete.
short. When you're that short, you have to be good at hand checking. The guy can probably catch a fly out of midair. He's just that
Nice.
skilled.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Well, yeah, man. We'll let you get back to it. I know you're traveling and stuff like that. We just wanted to have a few words with you and catch up with you. Hopefully, we can have you back on again soon. And good luck to in coaching Juliana for the fight and all that kind of stuff. Anything you wanted to promote or anything while you're on here?
Yeah, just May 15th, my show, Northern Quest Casino, is coming out hot.
Okay.
Full fans, Spokane, Washington. They're coming out hot. Then we're coming out hot with Misha in July against Marion Renew. Then we're coming out hot in August, right, with Juliana against Amanda Newens. And I can assure you, Amanda will be in the toughest fight she's ever been in. I promise you that. And then Brady Easton will be the next Ultimate Fighter. I'm telling you, that kid is prepared. It will take a fluke to stop him. We have a 21-year-old killer on the loose in the house. So those are the top
Nice.
three. You gotta watch those guys. Well, everybody knows Misha and Julie, right? I didn't have to say that, but
Right.
Brady,
Yeah.
be ready for
Yep.
him to win.
Yep. That sounds good, man. Hopefully we, we'll see it. I would love to see Juliana, be the new champ. That would be great. After everything she's done, I mean, and I've seen you say it before, she's really the first women's champion in the UFC, and she really is, in my opinion, because she actually earned the title of Ultimate Fighter. They just handed Ronda
Exactly.
a belt and said, "Hey, you're the champ." I mean, that was kind of
Exactly.
ridiculous. So I can't wait to
Exactly.
see it, man. Yep.
Exactly. Everybody's gonna be surprised with Juliana. They're gonna see that heart come out again, and it's gonna be scary when you have heart versus skill. We'll see what happens.
Definitely, definitely. Sounds good. Well, safe travels, man. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, buddy. I'll talk
Thank
to
you,
you
Rick.
soon.
Take care, man.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
That was Rick Little just stopping in and having a little chat with us. We will be coming back live with our regular scheduled broadcast at 9:30. This was just a little bonus episode. Rick was just dropping by to talk to us a little bit while he was in the airport. Pretty awesome guy, and we really appreciate that. So on behalf of Nico, I will see you guys in about an hour for episode 22. We'll see you guys then.